So, interesting thing. Just walking out here to shoot this video. A big old hog just ran in front of me. Check this all out. See that? All over the place. Over there, right there. I'm in a park here. My house is super noisy right now. My garage is where my washing machine is, so I can't work in there to shoot a video because the washer's going. I have a new son, a baby, my first son, and my nephew is also at the house, so there's baby noises going on. So I decided to come out here and shoot this video. So hopefully I can actually get this done today for you. All right, so I'm gonna make another gator hide video here. The vegetable tan, bark tan, whatever you wanna call it, is how I made this. I made a series on that. If you haven't seen that, click the link in the description, or click the link in the corner, whichever corner this ends up being in. You can watch that series on how I did it. I wanted to clear up a few things. I had a few questions from viewers leaving comments, and they're asking basically what type of ash you use to lime the hides, because you need to lime the hides. Basically you skin out the gator, and then you have the flesh. You take the flesh off this side here, and you take off any other of the unwanted materials, fats, flesh, any of the meat. But then what you have on the other side is you have, each one of these has a scale on it, and every scale needs to be taken off here. If you want to do the method that I'm showing you in the videos, you got to take these scales off. That way that scale will allow the tannic acids from the bark to get into the gator hide. If you don't do that, it won't turn out very well. You'll have little spots that will be really light colored, and if they're not tanned, there's a good chance that they're not preserved. So one of the questions was, what type of lime? In the videos, I used a wood ash type of lime to descale the alligator hides. You can use that same method on animals with fur too. It basically releases the fur or the scales from the skin itself and allows the tannic acids to penetrate it. So what type of wood ash? I have used a mixture of ashes, but hardwood ashes are more likely to have the amount of alkaline that you need in it. Basically, when you burn the wood, you're left with ash, which is the white gray compound, and then you're left with also possibly charcoal, which is the black. You don't want the charcoal. The charcoal's not going to hurt anything, but the ash is what actually has the lime in it. It has the alkali in it. So you want to make your solution with hardwood ashes if possible. Another form of lime is quicklime, and that's created by superheating seashells to the point where they turn completely white, and then you mix that with water, and that gives you quicklime. It's like highly reactive to water, so you have to be a little careful with that. I don't use that method in the videos that I created. I did that the ashes method just to show that you can use just wood ashes to do it. The seashell lime is a more potent form of the lime, and it will work faster, and you can buy it in the stores. Just, you have to make sure it's type S builder's lime or quick lime. The crushed limestone doesn't work. It's not the same thing. So that being said, hardwood ashes. Another question, how much ashes do you need? I'll put it this way. I don't have it down to a complete science of how many pounds of ashes per ounces of hide that I'm doing. I'm kind of eyeballing it. I'm adding ashes as needed if I feel like it needs it. So I have done, I think 8-foot hides is the largest hide that I've ever done. I will use a full 5-gallon bucket of hardwood ashes, and I'll mix that in as strong as I can to make a slurry that I'll put the hide in, and I'll soak it until those scales start to fall off. Now, there has been questions too, like, what should it smell like? You got to think about this. You're taking ashes, which is lime. That lime is a naturally used for, or traditionally used for soaps. You can even take that ash and you can rub it around in your fingers with a little bit of water on it, and it feels like soap. It has like a soap consistency. So you want to take and wash those hides. You're washing all the crap out of the hides. All the things you don't want, and you're descaling it with that solution. So you kind of want it as strong as possible. Because you're using the wood ash as the lime source, you want it as strong as you can possibly get. I wouldn't go any less than a couple gallons of ashes to start off. And you might have to add more. Let it set for 3, 4, 5 days. If it's in the sun, don't set them in the sun, because that's more likely for it to heat up and for bad bacteria to grow in it. You want to put it in the shade. You want to put it with a good batch of ashes, kind of thick, like a muddy solution. And then, I mean, it can be kind of water too, but you don't want it, you want as much ashes as you possibly can get in there. Then you watch it. If it starts to smell like kind of off, it's not too bad. That might just be the things breaking down. The ashes are pulling out some of the fats and the proteins and things that are in the skin itself. If it starts to really get like rancid smelling, it might have gone too far. You probably didn't have a strong enough lime solution. You probably didn't have as much ashes as you probably needed. What's next? The ashes. We did the ashes, what type of wood. We did the how much ashes. You can't really overdo the ashes. All right, so I think I covered everything that I can cover about the ashes. If you use another type of lime, like the type S builder's lime, I haven't used the type S itself. I used, there's another form of lime. I'll have to get back to that. Something, dialumatic lime or something. My dad bought it. I used it on a couple hides and it started releasing the scales. I wasn't able to watch it like I wanted to, so I ended up losing the hide. Like, I'll try to put a link in the description of what I used, because if you use that, I think it'll work, but I don't think it is the safest way to go, especially if you're not able to get to it right away, because I left it in the solution and it ended up eating the skin. I was trying to do a hornback and it ended up turning the skin into like a jello, and started dissolving it, and it left the little scoots behind, the bones in the back. So I recommend not to use that unless you want to just experiment with it. I might experiment more with it, but I'm not going to recommend that you use that unless you're going to be really careful with it and watch it, because if you leave it too long, it might dissolve it. The ashes, I've never had it dissolve it. If anything, it's going to be a little on the weak side, so just watch it. If it starts to smell, put more ashes. I think that's it on the ashes. Oh, bark. What type of bark? I've been using the laurel oak bark because I can get it. It's a lot of the neighborhood I live in. They cut trees and drop it off. They have little chunks of firewood by the road, and I'll just take the bark off that. This is a piece of it. This piece has been around a long time. Sitting it in my my wood pile. If you look right here, this bark is got a little bit of a like brown color to it, but I can almost guarantee you that there's not much for tannins in this bark. If this piece of firewood is freshly cut, you can get the tannins out of the bark. This piece has been laying around for a while, and what happens is after a long time, the rain, if it's sitting out in the rain and the weather, it will actually wash out the tannins out of the bark. So you don't want that. You want to get as fresh as you can. You can use dried stuff. Just make sure it hasn't been washed out by the rain or water. Because what you're going to do is you're going to want those tannins in there, and you put those tannins, the crushed up bark, the chipped up bark, throw it in your pot and boil it and make a tea out of it. Once that, you can usually get like I'd say 2 or maybe 3 renderings out of it. What I do is I top the my vessel that I'm boiling it in, I top that with bark, and then I fill up to the top of the bark with water, and then I'll boil it, and I'll boil it for like an hour or so on a high heat. Once I boiled it like that, I'll pour the juice off of it, I'll fill it back up to the top of the bark with another thing of water, and I'll get a second rendering out of it. You'll suck a little bit more of that tannin out of it. If you have a bunch of bark and you don't really have to do the second rendering of the tea, you can just go straight out, and that would be your strongest bet. You just kind of want enough that you'll cover your hide in the container that you're trying to tan the hide in. Let's see, so fresh bark, and then just make sure you keep an eye on that hide. If it starts to stink, you probably need to add more tea to it. You need to add some more tannic acids into it. So dump the old out. What I usually do is you'll see it in my videos, I'll grab some of the tanning solution, the oak tea, in my hand, and I'll look at how well I can see the lines of my fingers through that liquid. So I'll scoop it and I'll just let it sit there, and if it looks like it's kind of hard to see through the liquid and see the lines in my hands, that is a good sign that there's some tannins in there still. If it's looking red or brown and you can't see and you can see straight through it, you're probably time to switch it out. I'm trying to think of all these points that I came across reading comments from viewers. This last gator season, there's been a lot of views on some of my videos, and I just want to clarify some of these things that people had questions on. I don't want to steer anybody wrong. I had a couple people, one gentleman was trying to tan a hide, but then a hurricane hit, and he was in the middle of, I think, liming the hide, and it ended up getting wrecked because he wasn't even able to get out into the storm to change the solution on it. I feel bad for him. Like that is a bummer, because no one wants to see their precious alligator hide go to waste. So I hope I covered most of the questions in this. Feel free to leave a comment in this comment section if you have any more questions about it. I'm really trying to share all this information with you guys because I was there. I didn't have any money to tan a hide. I hunted an alligator, but I was kind of broke, and I didn't want to spend hundreds of dollars to get an alligator hide tanned and wait almost a year to get it back. So I was like, how can I do this? So what did the natives do in this situation? What would you do if you didn't have a grocery store or a supplier to get things from? What could you use? So that's what motivated me to go down this journey. It's been a fun journey. I've learned a lot. I've made some mistakes. And that's why I want to make these videos, is so that I can show you that it can be done. There's a different way other than just sending your hide away to have someone else do it. You can do it with things you have in your backyard, most likely. Like I said, if you have any more questions, please leave a comment. I hope to be making some more content. It's been a little rough because I have a 8-month-old son, and it's hard to find time to do extracurricular things. It's not impossible, but it's definitely a learning experience. It's a blessing, but it's something to be adjusting to. So I hope to get out there and do some more fishing and do some more hunting and just exploring in general. I also wanted to show you guys, I've been messing around a little bit. I've been making these little card holders. These are veg tan leather. They are not alligator, obviously. I'll be getting more into that hopefully soon. I don't want to cut into this without having absolute certainty that I know what I'm making with it. So I've been making these. If you want to support the channel, I've been not sure how to quite do this. I guess direct message me on Instagram. I could probably ship you one of these if you want one of these. Messing around with this color. This is just more of a natural color. These are naturally dyed with iron. So this was that same color. So that's it for this video. I think I answered most of the questions that were in the comments on these videos. If you want to see more stuff like this, I'll be doing more. I have a tegu hide that I'm going to do with the bark tanning, the veg tan method, and also a shark skin. They are in my refrigerator now, and I got to check and see if they're good still. They've been salted. If they're good still, I'll be making those videos. Oh, that was another thing. You don't have to salt the hide. If you're going to lime the hide right away, don't salt it. The salt is only there to preserve it until you can get to it. So till next time, I'm Phil, and you're watching Scope Scar.